Good afternoon, students. In the last class, we just started sets. Related to the sets, in the first point, I mentioned you the definition and the basic notation of the sets, how to represent, how to identify the elements and everything. Whereas in the second point, it's completely related to the representation of sets. There are different forms to represent a set, and those forms are like definition form, list form, rule form, and diagrammatic form. See, I mentioned different examples to convert from one form to the other in the last class. And now in this class, coming to the third point, which is the cardinality of a set. Cardinality of a set is nothing but simply number of elements in a set. Number of elements in a set. Okay? Number of elements in a set is usually mentioned as cardinality of a set, or you may say number of elements in a set. Sometimes in some books and some people may call it as order of set also. Okay, all are same actually. They represent the number of elements in a set. Okay, see, we have different examples. Actually, at the end of the last class, I gave you some g. G is equals to x such that x square minus 1 is equals to 0. I mentioned you. See, if you solve this x square minus 1 is equals to 0, you will get two values for x. One is 1 and the other is minus 1. So you say that z is equals to 1 comma minus 1. So now you just count the number of elements in the set G. If you count the number of elements, how many are there? There are just two elements, right? Since there are only two elements in the set G, see, we say that number of elements in G are 2. The cardinality of the set G is 2, as well as order of the set G as 2. And to write, we as a notation we wrote that n of G is equals to 2, which represents that number of elements in the set G is 2, and some people may write it as O of G, order of G as 2. But we usually use that n of G, the notation n of G, which represents the number of elements in a set. Okay, I gave you different examples. Okay, see, in the last class I mentioned you some examples. See, for every example there is a chance to count the number of elements, and we will represent that number of elements like this. N of G is equals to 2. So simply cardinality is just nothing but number of elements in a set. Okay, this is just the third point. Now coming to the fourth point. The fourth point is just related to the different types of sets. We will have different types of sets, and one by one I will give you. Okay, see, all these types of sets are based on the cardinality itself. Okay, see, as I mentioned you, number of elements in a set is mentioned as cardinality. So this type of sets is usually based on the cardinality of a set. Depending upon the cardinality, that in the sense depending on the number of elements, we have different types. Okay, for example, what I am saying you, number of elements. Okay, right. Okay, see, empty set is a set which contains 0 elements. The number of elements in a set, if it is 0, we call it as empty set. If the number of elements in a set is 1, we call it as singleton set. If the number of elements in a set is finite, then we call it as finite set. And if the number of elements in a set are infinite, we call it as infinite set. Okay, and whereas coming the equivalent sets and equal sets. Okay, see, these two are somewhat different. Yeah, in 4b I will discuss about these two. Okay, first of all you just look these four. Okay, empty set, singleton set, finite set, and infinite set. See, empty set in the sense what? The number of elements in the set, if it is 0, we call it as empty set, right? Let us go with an example. Yeah, see, I am trying to give an example for empty set. For example, H is equals to a set containing x such that x belongs to n, comma 2 less than x less than 3. You just think about this set. See, I need to collect some natural numbers which are in between 2 and 3. Are there any natural numbers between 2 and 3? No. So in the sense, no element is included in this set H. Since no element is included in this set, we also write this H as, see, like this. Okay, see, if you write the list form for this set, this is the set rule form. Okay, if you write the list form for this set, and for sure since there are no elements, you need to write like that. Okay, and this is just a usual representation for the empty set, and this empty set is also represented as by this particular symbol phi. Phi or phi we usually say, and that is used to represent an empty set. Okay, empty set is a set which contains no elements. The number of elements are 0. Okay, see, this is an example, and this H contains 0 elements, and we write here that what n of H is equals to 0. Since number of elements in the set H are 0, then that's why we are calling that H as empty set. Then coming to the singleton set. Singleton set is a set having only one element. For example, GHI. For example, if I have a set like I, and if I say X H dot X is even prime. Yeah. If I say X such that X is even prime, that is a set. See how many even primes are there. For sure, there is only one even prime, and that is specifically 2. So if you write the list form, then this is its list form. If you observe it, it contains only one element, and that's why we call it as a singleton set, and the number of elements are 1. And if you write the cardinality, n of I is equals to 1. Okay, there is no any other separate symbol to represent the singleton set. We have only a separate symbol just for the empty set as phi. That's it. Okay. Then coming to the finite set. If the number of elements of a set are finite, then we usually call it as a finite set. Okay. Singleton set is also a finite set because the number of elements are finite. It is 1. Okay. And empty set is also a finite set because the number of elements are 0. They are countable. They are finite number of elements. Okay. And for example, if you say another example, H I, if I say something like J is equals to, if I write like this, factors of a number 6. J is equals to factors of 6. If you list out all the factors of 6, they are 1, 2, 3, 6. Is it right? Are there any other factors? No. See, if you list out the factors of 6, and these are the factors of 6, and this is set J. If you count the number of elements in set J, that is equals to 4. Since the number of elements in this set is 4, a finite number, so we mention this as an example for a finite set, right? Whereas coming to the infinite set is a set which contains infinite number of elements. For example, if I say, see, H, I, J, and then K. See, multiples of 6, if I mention you multiples of 6, K is a set which contains all the multiples of 6. So how can we write the multiples of 6? We will write the multiples of 6 like this: 6 into 1, 6 into 2, 6 into 3, 6 into 4, and so on. If you observe, all these are the multiples of 6, right? Since all these are the multiples of 6, how many multiples are there for 6? See, multiple means we need to multiply 6 with any other number. 6 into 1, 6 into 2, 6 into 3, 6 into 4, 6 into 5, like that. We have a chance to write infinite number of elements. That's why, see, if you count the number of elements, they are uncountable, they are infinite, and that's why we treat this K as an example for infinite set. Based on the number of elements, there are 4 different types specifically: empty set, singleton set, finite set, and infinite set. Empty set contains no elements, in the sense 0 number of elements. Singleton set contains 1 element, in the sense only 1 element, that is 2. And finite set contains countable number of elements, finite number of elements. Infinite set contains uncountable number of elements, infinite number of elements. And if you look there, this H, I, J, K are just examples for these 4 types of sets. Is it right? In the last class I mentioned you different examples for the theory from A to G, and now I am continuing from H to K. Okay? Just have a look, and then I move for the 4B. Okay? Then 4B, where we need to discuss equivalent sets and equal sets. Okay? See, for example, 4B. Right. See, here I am going to tell you the first thing is equivalent sets. Okay? See, equivalent sets in the sense is simply we need to observe 2 sets. If those 2 sets have same number of elements, we call them as equivalent. That's it. Okay? So that in the sense 2 sets. Yeah. Sets having sets having equal number of elements. You need to observe that, okay? Not equal elements. If they have equal number of elements, that's enough to say them as equivalent sets. Is it clear? Okay? Yeah. For example, see, if you take a set like L, L is equals to, if I say any number of elements like minus 1, 0, 1. L is a set containing the elements minus 1, 0, 1. Okay. And if you say M, M is a set containing what I will take first 3 alphabets. If I say first 3 alphabets. See, what are the first 3 alphabets? See, they are nothing but just A, B, C. Is it okay? Yeah. See, L is a set containing 3 elements. M is a set containing 3 elements. Here, if you observe, N of L is equals to 3. They have only 3 elements. N of M also 3. They have only 3 elements. Since these two sets are having same number of elements, we call that L and M are equivalent sets. Since they have equal number of elements. Okay. See, therefore L comma M are equivalent. And since L comma M are equivalent, we just represent it by a two-sided arrow. See, if you look there, L and two-sided arrow M will represent that this L and M are equivalent. Is it clear? So first of all, equivalent sets in the sense sets having equal number of elements. Okay, that's what you need to identify. Okay, and this is L and this is M. So L and M are equivalent sets. There ends the task. Is it clear? Right. And now the next thing in the 4B is related to equal sets. You just have a screenshot for this definition, and then I will give you equal sets. Right? I am erasing this and I will give you equal sets. There is a slight difference between equal sets and equivalent sets. Okay, you need to observe it first. Yeah. See, equal sets are nothing but sets having equal elements. Okay, whereas equivalent sets are the sets having equal number of elements. And for the equal sets, if they have equal elements, then we say them as equal sets. Equal sets having equal elements. See, equal in the sense, if it is better if I use the word same. Okay, sets having same elements, then we call them as equal sets. See, for example, L is a set, as I mentioned you, minus 1, 0, 1. And if you took a set N that is equals to X such that, X into X square minus 1 is equals to 0. Directly here L contains minus 1, 0, 1. Here N is a set which contains the solutions of this equation X into X square minus 1 is equals to 0. And if you solve this X into X square minus 1, either X is 0 or X is 1 or X is minus 1. So I will write it like this. See, the solutions are just nothing but 0, minus 1 and 1. Is it right? And if you look, L and N, both the sets are having same elements. Okay? Since they are having same elements, then we say that L comma N are equal sets. And since L comma N are equal sets, then we directly use equality sign between L and N. Whereas for the equivalent sets, we need to use two-sided arrow, but whereas coming to the equal sets, it is enough if you use an equality sign between those two. Is it clear? Yeah. And one more thing is, see, you need to give you some observations. You need to observe something from the equivalent sets and equal sets. Okay? What can you observe? Yeah, not only from these two, you need to observe from the above discussions also. Okay? Yeah. See, the first observation is that empty set and singleton sets are finite sets. Is it right? This is a finite set. This is also a finite set, as I told you. That's the first observation. Whereas coming to here, if two sets are equivalent, then are they become equal? You just think about it. Two sets are equivalent. Are they become equal? Since two sets are equivalent, those two sets have same number of elements, but they don't have same elements. So equivalent sets are not equal. But whereas if you have two equal sets, see, like this L and N, these two are equal, and they are equivalent also. That in the sense every pair of equal sets are equivalent, but equivalent sets are not equal. That's one observation from here. And from there, empty set and singleton set are also mentioned as a finite set. Okay, I will give you those observations now. Just take a list, right? Yeah. See, you need to identify some observations here. Observations. So you may take it as 4C. Yeah, observations. The first thing is that empty set, singleton set or finite sets. Okay. The next thing is equal sets are equivalent. Equal sets are equivalent, but equivalent or not equal. But equivalent or not always equal. Is it clear? And we need to go for some more observations. I will list out all those things. Yeah. The next observation is related to the empty set. Empty set is also termed as null set. Is also termed as void set and is just represented by this symbol, or you may use this empty braces also. See, empty set or null set or void set all are same, and the number of elements in that set are 0. That is represented by either this empty symbol or this braces with no elements. Okay, right. And the next thing is, see, if you have a set containing 0 and if you have an empty set, is there any difference between these two? You need to think about the difference. Okay, this is a set having one element and that element is 0. Is it right? This is a singleton set. Okay, in most of the cases students may get confused related to these two. Okay, this is a singleton set because this set contains one element and that element is 0. This is an empty set because this set contains no elements. Okay, yeah, so don't get confused related to these two items. Okay, just have a look, and these are different observations related to the types of sets, and all those types are based on the number of elements in a set. Just have a look. Yeah, subset means what? See, if you have two sets, if every element of one set is in another set, then we call that the first set is the subset of the other set. See, for the definition I am using again the same notations A and B. Yeah, if every element of A, you just treat it as a first set, or in set B, you just take it as B as a second set. If every element of first set or in second set, then we say that first set is a subset of second set. See, then we say A is subset of B. Okay, then we say A is subset of B, and we usually denote it as denoted by this symbol, this particular symbol, A subset of B. Okay, right. And then coming to the examples, you may take some examples here. Okay, how can I take? See, for example, if I took P is a set which contains what? Which contains P is a set which contains, you may take some things. See, you may take some A, E, okay, P is a set containing A, E, O, U, alright, and then Q is a set containing all alphabets. Yeah, just look there. P is a set containing some alphabets, whereas Q is a set containing all alphabets, and if you observe, every element of P is in Q. Is it right? Yeah. since every element of P is in Q, then we say that P is subset of Q. Okay, not only one subset, there exist many subsets for that Q. Just in this particular context, that P is a subset of Q, and we write this particular notation, P is subset of Q. Okay, you just take it as 5A. That's the basic definition related to this subset. And one more thing is, here since P is subset of Q, every element of P is in Q. See, for sure the elements in Q, the elements in P are in Q. That in the sense in Q there may be more elements also, and there may be equal number of elements also. Okay. See, P is equals to AE IOU. Every element of P is in Q. Here in this particular case, P is subset of Q. Also observe that I am telling you about the number of elements in the sets. Since P is subset of Q, then for sure number of elements in P is less than or equals to number of elements in Q. Here also, see, observe that since A is subset of B, then N of A is less than N of B. Sometimes if they are equal, then also we call them as subsets, and the equality also may happen. Okay, just have a look at this. See, that in the sense, for example, if P is equals to AE IOU, okay, right, and if I have a set R is equals to set of vowels, I will say, set of vowels in the sense what? Again it contains like AE IOU only, no? That in the sense P and R are again equal. See, in this case, again I will say that P is subset of R. Is it right or wrong? If you say that P is subset of R, then only it is a correct statement. Okay, why? Because every element of P is in R. This is also one possibility that P is a subset of the other set. Okay, and then what I am telling you is, to decide whether a set is subset of the other or not, we need to check that every element of the first set is in the second set or not. See, if you check like that, sometimes those two sets may be equal, and sometimes the second set may contain more number of elements. So, see, if you observe the number of elements, sometimes the number of elements are in the first set are less than the number of elements in second set, or sometimes they may be equal. In this particular context, number of elements in P is less than number of elements in Q. Okay, but here number of elements in P is equals to number of elements in R. So if we generalize, N of A is less than or equals to N of B. Is it clear? Yeah. Just have a look at this. This is something about this subset. The next point I am going to see, I am going to deal with the all subsets of a given set. Okay? Right, I am clearing this. Next, B. All subsets for set S, which is equals to containing the elements like alpha, beta, gamma. For example, I have a set which contains the elements alpha, beta, gamma. Okay? Yeah. See, I need to list out all the subsets of this S. All the subsets of S in the sense, a subset of this S contains few elements of S. That in the sense, I need to write a set in which every element of that newly formed set must be in this S. Then only we say that as a subset. For example, if I took singleton alpha, okay, this is a set containing only one element, and that element is for sure in the set S. So I say this set is a subset of S. Is it right? Yeah, right. Okay. And then for example, if you take singleton B, this is a set containing only one element B, and that B is in the S. So this is a subset of S. Right? And then singleton gamma. Look there, a set containing one element, and that element is again there in S. So I say this is a subset of S. Right? Right. And then look there. Likewise, I have a chance to write two elemented subsets. It is a set containing alpha, comma, beta, and these two elements are again there in S. So this is another subset. And if you take beta, gamma, another subset. and if you take gamma alpha, another subset. See, all these are the subsets with one elements, and these are the subsets with two elements. And as we discussed, if I consider a subset, see a set having all the elements alpha, beta, gamma again, and this is also a subset for the given set S, because every element of this set is in S. So this is a subset having three elements. Okay, and if you think about empty set, whether it is a subset for the given set or not. See, look that. See, we say a set is a subset of the given set if every element of the considered set is in the given set. See, if I consider this empty set, every element of this empty set is there in set S. If I say like that, nothing wrong, and that's why this empty set for sure is a subset of S. Okay, so if you have a subset S, see, if you have a set S is equals to alpha, beta, gamma, then all these are the different subsets for that particular set. And this first one is a subset, yeah, look there, is a subset having no elements, and these three subsets are subsets having one element, and these three subsets, if you look, they are the subsets having two elements. And the last one is a set containing three elements alpha, comma, beta. It is again a subset having three elements. And there is no possibility to write a subset having four elements, because subset must contain a lesser number of elements when compared with the given set, or sometimes they may be equal. So look that there are subsets with no elements, there are subsets with one element, there are subsets with two elements, and there are subsets with three elements. Okay, all these are the different subsets for the given set S. If you have four elements in the given set S, then you may get many number of subsets again. There you will get a subset having four elements also. And now once again, if you look there, all these subsets, see, these subsets are again classified into different types. Among all these subsets, if you say, this subset is called empty subset. What it is? This is called empty subset. This is a subset clearly, and it is empty, and that's why we call it as empty subset. And if you observe all these things and all these subsets, okay, these all are mentioned as non-empty subsets. Empty subset and non-empty subsets. And one more thing is, see, subset means usually it must contain few elements of the given set. Okay, and usually that is properly a subset. But if you say improperly, this is also a subset. Properly in the sense by a proper manner, paddhatiga. Okay, see, paddhatiga matladte, if a set having fewer number of elements, some elements of the given set are called proper subsets. Paddhati lekunda matladte అన్ని ఎలిమెంట్స్ ఉన్న సబ్సెట్ తీసుకున్నా కూడా అది సబ్సెట్ అవుతుంది. సో పద్ధతిగా అంటే ప్రాపర్గా, పద్ధతి లేకపోవడం అంటే ఇంప్రాపర్గా. సో ఇఫ్ యూ అబ్జర్వ్ ఆల్ దీస్ సెట్స్, this set containing each and every element of the given set is also considered as subset, but we usually say this subset as the last one. Okay, only this subset is mentioned as improper subset. Okay, and since this last one is an improper subset, then what you say about the remaining? And all these remaining subsets, okay, are again termed as proper subsets. Okay, you just look at the complete picture how the subsets of a given set are classified. If you have a set, some S is equals to alpha, beta, gamma, all these are different subsets of the set. See, if you classify them depending on the number of elements, subsets having 0 elements, subsets having 1 element, subsets having 2 elements, and subsets having 3 elements. And if you classify them as the empty and non-empty, so this is empty subset and all the remaining sets are non-empty subsets. And if you classifying these subsets as proper and improper, this set, the last one, okay, that in the sense the set itself is called the improper subset and all the remaining are called the proper subsets. Just have a look, go for a screenshot.